All right, got it. Good. Live. All that stuff is solid. So we are starting our 8-week series. So if you guys have joined us before, if you joined us halfway through, you guys are going to get a fresh look with even a more confident, direct, and probably smooth presentation. Because just like all the questions, the check boxes, everything that we do, as we continue to be able to get better at presenting, it gets smoother, it gets better. Right. So we've had halftime, we've done role plays, we've done all kind of different things like that in the hope of one thing, to be able to make this presentation, this process, this methodology smooth. That's our overall goal, guys, to be able to get this information pounded in your head, because when you go into a meeting, you guys need to be focused on one thing and one thing only, and that's making your client the hero of what's happening. Right. So going in, doing good discovery, doing good diagnosis of really what's happening, and ultimately the demonstration of setting your company up to succeed is what we're going to be going through for the next 8 weeks here, guys. And we look forward to jumping in. So it's 2:01 Central Time, depending on where you are. Let's give 2 more minutes because we still got a few people rolling in, and we will get going. Anything cool you want to add, David?
No, I mean, does it get cooler than that intro? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Maybe the only thing I would add is the attendees. We got some really cool names. Couple, we got the Admiral, Mr. David Robinson. We got K-Dot here. We got Kendrick. I mean, there's some cool names here. Just people that are doing big things in the world. Love it. Welcome.
Welcome, guys. All right. So as I start this off, I'll say the same thing that I've said each one. So if you guys are joining on Zoom, you guys have a unique ability to be able to ask questions. So if you don't know how to get on Zoom, you can literally just go to norepsleftbehind.com. You can sign up for the Zoom. However, if you're live streaming, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the pages kind of that I push to, that's absolutely fabulous. But just know if you want to ask questions or be more engaged, you guys can do that. Just again, go to No Reps Left Behind, sign up, and rock out. So this is a restart, a revamp, try to find my right words. This is a kickoff. So if you guys have been with us in our past series, we have went through 8 weeks ultimately that takes us through what is considered the 4D sales process. And that's what we're going to be jamming through today. So we're going to be going through a lot of slides, a lot of information, but the one thing that I want to guarantee you is that we're going to be breaking every part of this down. So if there's something that you don't get, something that seems confusing, something like that, step one, ask the question. If you're not asking questions or I'm not getting questions, that's not a good thing as a presenter, an educator, or a coach. I want people to challenge and be inquisitive because that's how we learn. The second thing inside there, have fun, guys. This is about learning. This is about growing. And I want everyone to enjoy being here and showing up. So that's the coolest part. There's no cost for you guys to be here. This 8-week series is absolutely free. Again, if you're seeing this on any of the channels, you guys know that. Anybody here on Zoom, this is for you guys to be able to raise the floor. So when we talk about raising the floor, I'm talking the opposite of raising the bar, right? So let's just say you hear basic terminology, like I'm going to raise the bar. Well, the only thing that does is make it harder for some of your underperforming sales reps to reach that bar. They got to jump higher. They got to do more work. What I'm talking about is raising the floor. That way you can have a team of successful superstars, a team of like sales rock stars, right? That are going to be able to achieve the same results as maybe your rainmaker or your top level sales rep. So if you are a single rep that's showing up, that's absolutely awesome, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are an owner, welcome. This is the first step inside understanding what a process is. And what I'd like to do is kind of go through what our mission statement is. And I'm here, David's here to be able to make it known that owners no longer have to accept the gap between their highest and lowest rainmakers. So what that means is basically if you have a sales rep and you can instantly name him right now that he is the best sales rep, that's a problem in your business. Because if you don't have the ability, the skills, or let's just say the methodology to be able to duplicate the success that he's having, that will forever be the highest that you guys will ever have. And as an owner, that's one of the hardest things that you can do is figure out, how do I bring someone in? How do I bring my first sales rep in and get it to a point to where he can produce what I produce That way I can step out and start doing different things inside the business. So that's one of the things that we're going to attack and we're going to solve within this 8-week series. The second one, if you guys are a sales rep and you are here because you love sales, you want to get better, you want to learn a different way of looking at a situation, well, welcome guys, because you no longer have to contemplate quitting your job or leaving the company that you're at because you don't have the leadership, the mentorship, the process, or ultimately the tools that you guys need to be successful. Those are the two primary things when David and I came together and said, hey, let's put together a webinar series that's focused on sales process, because we all know that we can spend tens of thousands of dollars joining all kinds of different sales processes when at the end of the day, the leader, right, management, those are the individuals that ultimately multiply the company. And we'll talk more about that as we get deeper into the no reps left behind side. But guys, we're here to be able to make sure owners understand that you do not have to accept that gap. You do not have to accept that one person is great and the other person's going to get fired next week if they don't sell something. That's a really sucky spot to be at. The second side as a sales rep, guys, if you're struggling and saying, man, maybe this is the silver bullet that's going to get me to make a commission or maybe make enough money to be able to pay the rent or mortgage or a car or whatever it is, guys, you don't have to live inside that world, because what David and I are talking about is what I've worked on developing over almost the last 20 years. David's worked on for 10 years, and bringing this together gives you guys kind of the first insight at raising that floor and becoming better within sales. David, anything you want to add to that, sir?
Nope. Just a quick question though, guys. We did have one person that said that she cannot hear for other attendees. Can you guys throw something in the chat if you can hear us? Thumbs up. Yes. Why? Anything? Can you guys hear us just to make sure?
Anybody? This is your engagement part.
Okay. Yep. I think we're good.
All right. We're rolling. This is recorded as
Yeah,
well, guys. So I normally don't share any of the recordings. We don't post them or anything else like that. And that's because it's real live training. I'm not recording this and going to it a week later. I'm here, I'm live. We're here going through this, guys. So ask the questions, dive through it, and let's have fun. So I'm going to ask you guys a question, and it is, are you a sought after trusted advisor, or are you guys a desperate salesperson? And I put them inside these two parts because there's two places that you can be. One, you sell products or services, which means your sale is as good as the one that you make. And your next opportunity is based upon your customer's problem, failure, or unreachable goal, right? Ultimately, you sell a product or service, and a lot of times you're commoditized, your customer gets multiple bids, and you might be the second or third call on a project that needs to be solved. Or are you a sought after trusted advisor, which means as soon as your customer has a problem, you're the first call that is placed. It might not even be a roofing issue, but he's so used to you helping him or her, right, solve the problems that you guys get that first phone call. And if it's different for different clients, that's fine, but think about that. Are you guys a trusted advisor to your customers? Or are you a sales individual trying to sell a service or product, be the lowest price, be able to get out there fastest, right? That's going to commoditize you and do nothing but put you up against every other sales contractor, every job that you go and run. That's what we're here to solve. We're here to take the commodity side out of that. So my name is Chad Westbrook. I have been in the commercial roofing industry for almost 20 years at this point right now. And if there's one thing I know, it's commercial sales, service, and lead development. That is where my expertise sits. I have spent those 15 plus years leading different divisions, starting out as a telemarketer, moving into inside sales, sales management, account management, and even national account director worth about 20 million worth of reoccurring revenue coming into the business. And even running as a chief revenue officer, the entire front side of the business of a $15 million commercial roofing contractor. And I tell you guys that because what I'm about to share, what David and I are about to put together is going to give you guys the secrets, the tips, the skills, right, that it takes to be able to scale a company. There are two ways to be able to work inside your business. You can grow it or you can scale it. And we'll talk about that and we'll dive into that as we get into it. But guys, that's who I am. That's what I'm here for. David, you want to walk through your side, sir?
Yeah. Hey guys, David Bonney, founder of 45. I've been in sales for over 15 years at this point. I was a high performing rep, helped several companies grow revenue to, really, really astronomical levels. One, $1 billion valuation, where we had funding from Goldman Sachs, Bain Capital, and all the big guys. I've written the books. I've written a couple of books. I've trained thousands of reps. And essentially, guys, I'm here with Chad because I've got I have relationships in the commercial roofing industry, and seeing the bar there and seeing how some simple tweaks and adjustments, which is stuff that we're going to go through in here, how that can dramatically improve your performance and ultimately your life, so that you can, enjoy your life with the people that you love most, like my two little girls right there. That's why I'm continuing to stay invigorated in doing this work for you guys. So definitely encourage you guys to dive into everything that we're going to give you. It is only going to be of massive benefit to you.
Awesome. And I will get a picture of my kids so I can be comparative to David. That is a life goal that I get through as we do this. So, all right. So guys, all right, here's what we're jumping through. So I want to talk a little bit about how I built a team of 5 people that was worth about $17 million. So part of what I was telling you is that we built that $20 million national account team, right? Well, we did it with 5 primary sales reps, and they were doing about $17 million within themselves. And there was a very unique framework that was implemented. So when we talk about success, what I'm talking about is repetition, right? The ability to be able to perform a set of questions or do something in a direct order that's going to allow us to be able to scale it. And that's what I was doing. And I truly didn't even recognize the ultimately the redundancy, right? That might be the wrong word to use, but the repetitiveness that I was doing that drove my success. So as we get into this, they were selling about $300,000. So as a service sales rep, right? I'm not talking about new construction or any of these one sell one job and you're $1 million salesman. I'm talking about sales that were like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. Those were good sales. So I'm talking about consistent sales that happened every single day, every single week for the entire year. That is what I was accountable for. So constant cadence of selling. And they were selling about $300,000 on average is where they are, or where they were, I guess I should say. And I want to talk a little bit about how I got them to $2 million per sales rep. So not only was I able to basically 6 times this, right? More than that, almost 7 times where they were at, but we were able to create a framework that was so consistent. The questions were so consistent that it allowed us to be able to duplicate it and not just do it again with one sales rep that was one $2 million sales rep. I had 5. I had 5 reps that were moving, and that's what we're going to be going through today. So I've done this, like I said, in several different companies. Now, my role has been a little bit different in each one, but I did it at a $15 million local company in a single metro where I was chief revenue officer, and I was tasked with being able to grow the service side. The success from that went from 700,000 in service to a little less than 3 million within less than 24 months. The $50 million regional account, I was there for a little less than 3 years. I implemented brand new service divisions and was accountable for $4 million in sales, service sales, and brand new divisions that we had no work in. So going out, hunting, finding the issue, and creating customers that ultimately did not treat us like commodity contractors, but were trusted advisors in those situations. And the last one is a $100+ million company where I was the director of national accounts. And that's where those 5 individuals ultimately brought in $17 million. So when you talk about success and you talk about where I've done this, I've done it not once, not twice, but 3 times. And that's the process that we're going to be going through and how that's evolved from where we started to where we are right now. So to talk about those successes, if you guys are looking at your sales team, or maybe you're yourself inside there and just say, there's no way I'm going to be able to get to that type of cadence. Let's talk about Tucker. Tucker's based out of Indianapolis. He started as a waiter at Olive Garden. True story, 100%. Met him at Olive Garden. He did have some connections through some friends, but I said, man, his personality, all of that stuff matched. Brought him in for telemarketing, and it wasn't more than 12 months later, we had him in an outside sales role because his personality was so outgoing. It was so loud. It was so energetic and positive that it naturally fed. And when you put the framework into Tucker, you tell him the questions to be able to ask, right, in the right order. that was just fire. That worked. That put it inside place. Tucker ultimately is accountable for several $1 million per year at this point right now with his largest project. This is a feather in the cap, guys, a $2 million private negotiated re-roof that he sold himself, cultivated it by a drop, got the right questions, used service to be able to mitigate the leaks that they had, and got that $2 million contract. That was a huge win for Tucker and something that I know is for sure a feather in the cap. So if you guys are in that private negotiated world, you know that a $2 million private negotiated re-roof doesn't come up very often. Second one's Cody. So Cody is, again, I will say a unique case, but he's really not. He came from the labor side of the business. So he was outsourced labor rep. So think of the individual that's walking in to all of these these jobs and saying, hey, you guys need help with electricians or whatever it is. So he had a little bit of the construction side, but taking that construction knowledge, which was not roofing, by the way, right? So he was stepping into a new industry, giving him the right questions to be able to ask, and then guiding him on how to be able to ask those questions and qualify and disqualify. He's on track. This was last year, so it was 4.3 million. He's on track to do almost $8 million this year. $8 million. Now, he does have capital projects in that. There are good relationships that he's built, right? So this is not a one-time go out and hunt and find it. But Cody is an absolute success when you talk about what he's been able to accomplish in the short time that he's been in our industry. It doesn't take someone who's lived in roofing their entire life to be successful. The third person is Ryan. So Ryan lives in Florida at this point right now. He did not. So he's traveled around. He's jumped, I'll say, locations within the U.S., but his success has not changed. Originally found Ryan. He was doing radio station ads, brought him in for telemarketing because selling radio station ads is nothing but a redundant, right, sale. Brought him in, gave him the right questions. He moved into inside sales. He went to a national account manager, and he's now a strategic account manager at a company based out of Texas. Ryan's worth about $2.5 million in annual service sales, guys. So this is a huge one. Ryan is service only. He does have some capital projects that come through, but his ability to be able to service, I'll say, some of the largest higher education companies within the state of Texas has been absolutely phenomenal. And he does it by delivering solutions, solving problems, helping the clients get to the goal. So I tell you these 3 case studies, guys, because it doesn't take a sales roofing expert, been in the business for 30 years to be able to create the success. You can do it with the team that you have. You can do it with yourself, whatever it might be, if you apply the right framework, the right questions, and put it all together. That's what I can promise you that you're going to get out of this. So before we jump into this, I want to talk a little bit about what this training is not. First off, we already talked a little bit about it. It's not a paid training. We show up because we want to be here, and I respect you guys for that. Second part is we're not limited by our own excuses. So we're going to call out BS. If there's things that are going on, and let's just say we jump in, someone's asking questions wherever it is, part of this, which I'll talk about, is radical candor. We're here to be able to grow ourselves. So we do not accept this is how I've always done it. We do not accept, well, this is how I was taught, because we're here to be able to break those barriers, break those lines, right? And be able to raise the floor rather than raise the bar. And we're not watered down. This is not a corporate sales process, guys. So as we get into this, you're going to hear real world situations. I live in this world every single day. I work with roofing contractors anywhere from 150 million down to 2 million. And I live in this world. So if you guys have questions, concerns, comments, throw them in the chat and we'll jump through this stuff, guys, and we'll get through it. So I always say no filters, no limits, no excuses. We're here to be able to grow ourselves. I want to talk a little bit about radical candor. And David, I'll give you some time to talk here, I promise. I want to talk a little bit about radical candor, guys. And the easiest way to be able to say it is the crosshair of caring personally and challenging directly. And I'm going to encourage you guys to be able to accept this culture when we're in these meetings. Because on one side of radical candor is the guy who watches the house burn down. Don't be that individual, okay? You have questions, you have concerns, you have all this kind of different stuff. But you're like, you know what? I'm just going to let them talk, let them sell their process. Don't. Challenge us, right? Care enough to be able to say it. The other side of radical candor is the asshole. That's the guy who ultimately is saying something just to be a jerk, just to be able to shut things down. We probably all have that person in our mind. Where I'm asking you guys to be during this meeting is right in the crosshairs of caring personally and challenging directly. That means that you're going to say something because you care enough to be able to say it. And that's the same thing that me and David are going to give to you guys. So we want questions. We want interaction throughout all of this. We want to be able to use radical candor so we can care enough to be able to say it, but also be humble enough to be able to take any type of feedback and understand that there are a million different ways to look at the same situation from a different side of the fence, glass, or whatever we want to use. Cool? David, you want to take us through the path ahead, sir?
Yeah. So the path to get these kinds of results, guys, is repeatable. It's a system that can be used. We're going to take you through that system. The path is obviously the kickoff call today. Then next week, we're going to get into building urgency and priority, the deals that stall, the people that don't ever take action on the problems that they need to, or by the time that they do, you've lost contact with them, they choose a different vendor. We're going to cover that next week. In week 3, we're going to go through diagnosing their needs and determining their need for help. This is going to keep you guys from getting into these price battles with people where you're just a commodity and they're trying to drive your price down because they don't see why you're different. You're nothing special. And then we're going to go through in week 4, presenting your solution. How do you get clear? How do you differentiate yourself from everybody else in the actual presentation itself? Not as a company, just in the presentation itself, to increase ultimately your close rate and your average revenue per close. From there, we're going to dive into the confirmation close in week 5, which is going to teach you guys how to end all of the maybes and the indecision and drive people to a clear yes or no. And if it's a no, then you can understand exactly why, resolve the objection if necessary, or if they're just not the right fit, then you can move forward. After that, you got to figure out how to lead yourself, guys. We can give you all the processes in the world, but if you can't lead yourself, you cannot lead your prospects to better outcomes than they would normally be able to achieve. So it's going to be a full docket. We'll probably have some bonus sessions in week 7 and or 8, but we're excited to run through all this content with you guys.
Cool. All right. So what I want to start off is explaining what a trusted advisor is. And the best way to be able to do that is to tell you guys a story. So this is, I'm gonna picture this out and I'm gonna run through it kind of fast, guys. So this is a restaurant, Central Georgia, 8 p.m. on a Tuesday night. It is raining. Okay. It is pouring. We can't access the roof. And guess what? They have a leak. True story, 100%. This actually happens. We get the call at 8 p.m. First off, it's dark. We can't do anything at this point right now. It's pouring down rain and they have a leak. We show up, right? Because they say, hey, I need somebody out here. I need somebody out here. So we get our guys aligned. We show up. We have 2 options at that point right now. Number 1 is to be able to say, hey, it's lightning. We can't go on the roof, throw a bucket underneath it, something like that, and walk away. It's not, we can't do anything. We go home, put a bucket underneath it. Or we have a choice to be able to be a trusted advisor, right? And help them understand really what's happening in the business. And I'm going to take you through what happened real life that really made us, this company, completely different, right? And then also solidify themselves as why you guys probably can't get in there and they continue to be able to use this primary contractor. So once we got in there, we understood, we saw where the leak was coming from. It really was raining. There really was thunderstorms. It was not safe for us to go on the roof. So the first question we asked is, okay, where's the leak at? It was coming right in between the door from what they call the front and back of the house, which basically means the kitchen and the seating area. And we asked the question, okay, why does this matter? Right? And we asked it in a real positive, inquisitive way. Okay, why does this matter? And they said, well, we have a slip fall hazard. We have people carrying food through the front to the back of the house, and we have a slip fall hazard. So we can't have water here, or we're constantly just going to be mopping it up and we're at risk of someone falling. So then I asked the question, okay, so if someone falls, then what happens? So we're going deeper into the situation. And then we talked about, okay, well, if someone falls, obviously that could shut the restaurant down. We then have ambulances here, all kinds of different situations that were going on. So what we knew is we had a problem that had to be mitigated. It had to be fixed. Now, I didn't say it had to be fixed from the roof side. It had to be fixed to a point to where they can walk in and out of the front to the back of the house and they can deliver food, right? Because that's what they do for a business. We ended up putting a leak diverter in, which we had in our truck, and we ended up running it through the drop ceiling into the slop sink that was, I think it was like 30, 40 foot away. But at the end of the day, from a customer perspective, we did exactly what we needed to do, which was we got water off that floor. The commodity contractor could see a roof leak, could see that there was no way to be able to address that roof leak, right? So they could give up, they can quit, they can go home, they can put a buck underneath it. And all of that does not mitigate the true risk or the problem that the customer had. What we did is we created a solution for them that had nothing to do with our primary product, which was roofing. We never even went on the roof, but we were able to give them the same solution as if we went on the roof, found the issue, and repaired it. Does that make sense to everybody? What we were able to do is step out of our box and understand truly what the problem is that the customer had and what they were trying to prevent, and then craft a solution that allowed them to be able to get their business back online. The commodity contractor typically would have walked away inside that situation or would have never shown up. We were able to get out there, not fix the problem, but provide a solution until the next morning or until it cleared. And we made more profit off of that project than what we ever would have done on a typical time and material response, because we were able to get out there on emergency rates, put the leak diverter up, come back the following day, make permanent repairs, and make additional recommendations based upon what was going on the roof to make sure that water stopped coming in. That's how we pulled all of this together. That's how we became a trusted advisor and grew with that company to well over $1 million annually. Anything you want to add to that, David?
Nope. Guys, the problem is not the main thing to focus on. That's the key here. The key is that the problem is creating pain, or will create pain. And that's why they take action on this stuff. And that's why they're willing to pay a premium for somebody that can help them avoid that or eliminate that pain. And it's all the same stuff. You know, we talk about it with our teams today. It's the same stuff. It's either going to be a slip fall hazard, it's going to be damaged product, or it's going to be loss of productivity. That's going to be the vast majority of the bigger issues, the bigger pain that your prospects are dealing with. And are you going to help them understand that, identify that, solve for that? Or are you just going to go slaying a price, right? One is a heck of a lot more fun and will create a lot more loyalty and long-term advocates who are not only buying with you, but are sending you referrals. So that's what we want to get in here today. And it's really understanding this process here that's going to really unlock it. It should be a paradigm shift for you guys. Don't look at this as just regular sales training. This is a paradigm shift, because essentially what Chad is saying here is we can go through and we can eliminate objections before they ever come up. We can have that conversation with somebody and get them to take the action that they need to take before they ever tell you, oh, maybe I'm not going to take this action, because we had the conversation and we put that information right in front of their face and compelled them to do it. And that's the secret behind all of this. Guys, if you're in a position where you're having to ask for the sale from somebody, you've most likely already lost it. Chad says that all the time, and I love it. We have to be proactive in our sales process. We already know why they're not going to buy, right? We've been doing this for hundreds of years. We know why people don't buy. We already know the possible objections that we'll encounter. So let's build a sales process to resolve those objections before they ever get in the way of them making that decision. And that's what this content is all about. It's all about a proactive approach, okay? So by doing this, what we can do is we can drive them out of ultimately the indecision of them not making a definitive choice on whether they're going to do it or not, or get them out of this issue of just focusing on the lowest price vendor, right? And we can do this without any friction, no pushing, no pressuring. We can drive people to a clear decision that's in their best interest without having to annoy the heck out of them, right? With our selfish questions of, you guys made a decision yet? When do you guys think you're going to go? What's going on here, guys? It's like, I'm trying to solve my own problems. Leave me alone. I don't care about you or your quota, right? And again, that is the difference with what we're doing here, okay? So ultimately, what we want you guys to be able to do is bring on new clients that are going to grow in value, just like Chad talked about, every single year. And then your book of business continues to grow, right? And this compound effect starts to drive sales results with what we're seeing with our reps. You know, we have this conversation regularly too, especially now. We've gotten through the first half of the year. We're seeing where our reps are going to end up. And the conversation is, I don't care what your goal is anymore. We need to continue to push this thing and see what's possible, because their projection is already blown past the goal that we set for them at the beginning of the year. That is the new world, right? Unlimited commissions, uncapped sales potential, because we can continue to optimize the process and capture more people that we never should have lost in the first place.
David, you make an awesome point inside there, because when we talk about unlimited commission, uncapped sales potential, all of that is fabulous, guys. But please understand, we're not telling you to go out and sell everybody. That one story I told you, that one account that we had right there is $1 million account. One account, right? Yep. So I only need 17 clients like that. And yes, that's a stretch, right? But I only need 17 clients to be a $17 million company. It doesn't have to be a mile wide and an inch deep where each client buys from you once a year. That's what we call vertically scaling the business. So doing a great job will allow you to be able to grow internally with those customers, right? And what David is talking about is eliminating all of those objections and building your sales process, building your presentation to be able to eliminate those objections is just absolutely beautiful when you know what the objections are coming in. And that's clarity, and we'll dive into that. But David, awesome points on all that.
Yep. We get on the same side of the table with them guys as a trusted advisor that's helping them create the plan that's going to make their life better. And they're going to stick with us for the long run because everybody else is just slinging their stuff at them, right? Selfish. I got to hit quota. Help me hit my quota, right? No. You help them achieve what they want at the end of the day. So that gets into what we call is the rise of the trusted advisor, specifically in commercial roofing, right? It all starts, like Chad said, with being that trusted advisor, their go-to person. And our definition of a trusted advisor is simple. It's someone who works collaboratively with their clients as a strategic partner, again, on the same side of the table, right? Not as somebody that's trying to manipulate them into doing the thing that they want them to do, right? Now, there's a lot of sales trainers out there that are talking about us needing to be quote unquote trusted advisors. I see them, right? They're all over TikTok now, right? Or Reels or whatever app you're on, okay? And they're saying that we need to focus on helping people, but they follow that up with a bunch of vague ways, vague platitudes, vague principles. We are going to break down the complete roadmap. Every step you can follow piece by piece, they'll turn you into a trusted advisor for your market, right? The trusted advisor that they're crying out for, you'll be able to step into that role and do it every single time in every single meeting that you have with your prospects. Because at the end of the day, this is all about helping you generate those high quality referrals that we were just talking about, closing more sales at a higher price faster. When you help people do what they want, then all of a sudden you end up achieving all of your goals. What's the quote on that, Chad? Help people make money, or the bigger the problems you help solve for other people will determine how much money you make in your life. That is the idea of what we're going after here, guys.
My son was trying to get me to buy Poker coins last night. And I literally told him, I was like, you can have anything in life as long as you help someone else get what they want. I use that one on him, right? It's like, I just want the dishes done. I'll buy you poker coins. You do the dishes. It's no different, guys. You're applying that to it because there's a disruption large enough that your customer, prospect, candidate, whatever it is going to spend money to fix it. Now, who are they going to spend it with and why are they going to spend it or how much all dictates on how well you guys are actually presenting your solution, right? Because they have a problem, they have a goal. How are you going to help them get there? All right, so this is what I want to talk about real quick, guys. This is how your clients are viewing your work. So as we talk about a sales process and whatever, if you have one, that's great. Think about what it is. Think about the questions you ask, right? Maybe even, you learn about their kids and they're in soccer and, they had a leak on Saturday and the guy missed his soccer game and all the different stuff or whatever happens, right? It doesn't matter what your sales process is. Our industry is plagued with a proposal that looks something like the one you have in the lower right-hand side of your corner. It sucks. And it sucks because there's absolutely no emotional connection. There's absolutely no connection into probably most of the discovery you did. It's just a bunch of lines that talk about roofing specific tasks that you guys are going to complete. And the real fact is that nobody wakes up into the morning and wants to buy roofing. And if you have a contractor that's reading line for line, comparing everything together, he's worried about being ripped off, which means the value that you guys are providing, the return on investment, right, is not big enough for him to be able to make a decision on what he wants to do or what he needs to do. That's your job as a trusted advisor, is to be able to help bring clarity and confidence that he's making the right decision and he's choosing to go with ultimately a contractor who is an expert in doing this. And we'll talk about this a little bit, but if your guys' proposal looks something like the one on the lower right, maybe it's got some pretty photos of the roof and stuff like that. Guess what? Your client sees a stained ceiling tile. They called you because they see a stained ceiling tile. That's their reality. You can show them open seams, punctures, all that kind of different stuff. But guess what? That's not his reality. That's out of sight. That's out of mind. So what we have to do is we have to connect our sales process. We have to connect our discovery and diagnosis, right, into solving their problems and to helping them get to the goal that they're trying to achieve. And we'll talk about that. But one thing I want you guys to realize is that if you don't have a good way to be able to bridge your discovery and diagnosis into your proposal presentation, it's going to be very, very hard to separate and not be commoditized by your customer. That's going to be something that we'll talk about and then we'll dive into. You, David, or me?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I mean, I'll take it, whatever we got. Ultimately, the idea is that you get, like we said before, selling people stuff that they don't want ultimately sucks. And nearly 7% of potential buyers do not want to interact with a sales rep at all during their buying process. And I know you guys can feel the resistance, right? You have the people that are nice to you, and that's fine. But more and more, we're feeling this resistance from prospects, but it's ultimately because of how we're approaching the role. As they're going through a process of trying to solve their problems and improve their lives. If we would change our approach, this number completely changes to 90% plus love talking to us. And we have all the data. I can show it to you all. It is mind-numbing how different it is.
So what he's saying right now is the client that says, yeah, just go ahead and email the proposal over. That's this person, right? They don't value what you guys are doing. They don't value the work, the effort, the estimating, the hours, the energy that you guys are putting in enough to be able to sit down with you, because the only thing they want to know is what's the price. That's commoditized, guys. Don't get in that world. When you have enough value, right, when the problem is big enough, he'll take the time to be able to make sure that he's reaching the goals that he needs to. And that's the clarity part.
So, I mean, if we really want to look at it, if we want to say it a little bit more clearly, our prospects basically just don't want to talk to us a lot of times. And they're really looking for ways to avoid us. And that's painful, right? They want to solve their problems. They're not good at buying this stuff. They're just not. Just, you know that. They don't know what the hell they're doing. But so because they're not good at buying, they do need us, but they don't want to talk to us. So if we can change the approach, then we can repair the relationship. But if we don't ultimately do it, or what our research shows on this topic is pretty extensive, that we figured out that ultimately this issue is this buyer-seller misalignment, like we talked about. The sales industry and most companies have been trained to sell your stuff. And the problem is buyers don't want our stuff. They want to solve their problems. So this wall of disconnect creates a lot of issues. And most of the time we think it's us or it's the question that we're asking. No, it's our entire approach, guys. And if we would just change that from the very beginning, you would see their guard drop down in the vast majority of the people that you talk to. Their willingness to actually just want your help so that they can reach the other side of us, because they have no idea what they're doing. And the data supports this. According to LinkedIn, they do an annual state of sales report. 88% of prospects buy only when they see a salesperson as a trusted advisor. They want someone to help them solve their problems, not someone trying to hit their own core, like we just said multiple times. I mean, there's just the data supports it. We all know it. It's time to change all of this stuff. They need a trusted advisor because they're incompetent in these areas. You guys help hundreds of people solve their roofing issues, right? Every single year. They only do it twice, right? If they knew how to solve this problem, it would have been solved already. You are the expert. We just got to get you to start showing up that way. All right. So this is where we're going to start. There's 3 fatal holes that you guys are actually experiencing or creating in your buyer's journey, right? The journey that your potential buyer goes through to either make the decision to do this, or if they are going to do it, who to do it with. And ultimately, this all comes down to what we were talking about, right? Lost deals everywhere. Oh, no, I lost this deal because of a low price shopper, or they don't have a need, or bias to a competitor, or the economy, or whatever. No. You guys are losing deals, not because of these reasons, but because of ineffective process that's not going through and helping you proactively eliminate each one of the objections. Now, the reason why you're actually losing deals is for one of three reasons. Just think about this. This is just logic. This is not my opinion. If somebody doesn't choose to move forward with you and sign that proposal, they either didn't take any action, they took your proposal and gave it to Bob, the maintenance man, and they're just going to do it themselves, or they chose a competitor. Those are the three reasons. This is why you're actually losing deals. You're not losing deals because of the economy. You're not losing deals because of low price shoppers. You're losing because they are choosing one of these three options and not you. Now, there's obviously some more detail behind all of that, but ultimately what our data shows is we've analyzed all of this. About 38% of your prospects that you drop into close lost, 38% are dropping into close lost because of no action. 29% are falling into ultimately they did it themselves, and about 33% or a third choose a competitor. So we always think, oh, they must have chosen another competitor. No, 2/3 of the deals didn't. More than a third just chose not to do anything, right? This is why it's happening. Okay. So ultimately what we're looking at, these are why these reasons you're currently not hitting quota or hitting your potential because you're not hitting these checkpoints. It's hard for your prospects to continue on in the process with you throughout the entire process when we're not staying aligned to the very critical three questions that they need to be able to answer. This is why you're losing them. And in our experience, it's absolutely critical to understand that problem first, because our sales process as a solution and the training that we're giving you is solving for these issues. We're going to teach you how to get more of your prospects to want to take action when they typically are not. We're going to get you to have more of your prospects realize that they can't get it done because if they could have, they would have. And we're going to teach you how to get more of your prospects to clearly see that you are the absolute best solution if they are going to take action with an outside source. So let's start off by diving into the foundation of the buyer's journey. What in fact is our buyer's intention when they meet with us? Again, we call this buyer's intent. What do our buyers intend when they're looking for a solution? Well, they intend to find the best solution possible to solve the actual problems, causing them enough pain and keeping them from important outcomes. Our prospects have a lot of problems. They're seeking solutions for the problems causing enough pain, right? That leak that's off in the corner, not impacting anything, is way different than the leak that's dripping on the admin's desk and she can't take sales calls, right? They're seeking the solutions for the problems causing enough pain and keeping them from the important outcomes that they want. And our inability to get to the root of that pain and discover those outcomes is driving most of your lost deals. Now, if that's their intent, what is the intent of the trusted advisor? Well, it's pretty simple, guys. The trusted advisor intends to help them find a solution to solve the actual problems causing them pain and keeping them from important outcomes. We're on the same page, and that buyer-seller disconnect is now gone. And again, like we said before, this kind of process that puts you on the same side of the table with them, this is how the trusted advisor gets repeat business. Okay? Because you operate in a manner that helps them achieve their goals, just like Chad was talking to his son about, right? Who would you rather call? The person who's going to sell you whatever they can to hit their quota or whatever they feel like they can sell you, or the person who has the ability to help you solve your problems and achieve your goals each and every single time? Who are you going to refer your friends to? The person that's going to pester them and hunt them down to get the sale, or the person that's actually going to help them, right? The rich get richer in this game, guys. Okay, being a top salesperson is about having a mindset, a process, a system, and the tools that we're going to give you guys here all centered around helping your buyers hit their goals. We're on the same page, guys. This is actually ludicrous that we're doing it the way that we're doing it. It really, really is if you think about it. It is insane. Okay, so this is ultimately where it became so simple for our sales reps to be able to crush their goals. Again, it's a paradigm shift, guys. It's not how can I write the better email to trigger my prospect to email me back. It's not how can I say the right line to get them to drop their jaw and see why we're so amazing. This is a complete paradigm shift around all those stupid sales tactics. Coffee is for closers. What? Who cares? Right? Go get a Monster, be a trusted advisor. I don't know. Do trusted advisors drink Monster? Probably matcha or something like that, huh? That's probably what we drink. All right, go ahead.
I'm a trusted advisor and I drink Red Bull, so I'm just throwing that out there. All right. So I would, before we dive into this real quick, guys, I just want to, I want to challenge you guys on your thoughts. So Dave, you went through a lot of awesome stuff. And if you were to think about a proposal that you have right now, can you honestly tell us the true problem that the customer has on why they will buy your proposal, right? The problem is not the deficiency on the roof, right? The problem is more than likely not what they see, right? It's the larger issue. What's going on? So a stained ceiling tile, who cares about a stained ceiling tile? Well, it could cause mold. It could fall on somebody. It could be a slip fall hazard. I mean, just as kind of we went through some of this stuff, right? I'm going to challenge you guys to think about that. Your proposals that you have right now, do you know the real reason, the large reason that makes it bad enough that they're going to spend money, okay? They're going to take cash and they're going to spend money to fix it because the reality sucks so much that they're willing to spend money to fix it. Think about that, guys. Your proposals that you have right now, the job that you are trying to sell, hopefully as soon as you get off this call, why are they going to buy it? It's not the open seam. It's not the puncture. Why are they buying it? And if you do not know, I'm going to encourage you to join every one of these because we'll teach you guys how to do it. I'll teach you the framework. But the first thing that you got to do is you got to be accountable to wanting and having to be able to help your customer rather than sell them a product or a service. That's the challenge for you guys. Do you know the real reason that your customer is going to buy it? Now, these next 3 steps right here, these 3 check boxes we're going to take you through is how you qualify or even more importantly, disqualify what's happening. You want me to run this, David?
Hey, it's up to you, man.
I ain't asking you. I'm not asking you. I'm out. All right. So we're going to go through the 3 holes inside a buyer journey. Okay. So number 1, is this a urgent priority? David, you said it best. I always give the example. There's a warehouse. Same exact TPO roof up on the warehouse. One is full of paper products to the pot. The business owner's getting ready to buy another spot because there's so much stuff in this building. The other one has absolutely nothing in it. It's ran down. They have no problems going on. Okay. Or they have nothing. I'm sorry, nothing in the unit. It's a concrete floor. Nothing's there. Okay. Same roof, same bullet hole, right? That came down and hit the roof. Same leak that's happening in it. Which one is actually going to award the work? The one that has a bunch of stuff in there that could be destroyed, that they don't have room to be able to move around, or the one that's going to fall in the concrete that no one walks back there once a month? That's what we're talking about, guys. What is the urgency of what's going on? And you can't answer that question as a sales rep. Only your customer can. Now, you can ask guided questions, right? And we'll help you get those questions together, but you guys have to figure out checkpoint 1. Is the problem big enough that they actually need to act? And as we go through in these future sessions, we're going to teach you guys to eliminate the maybes. There is no maybe. It's a yes or a no. And just because they don't need to act doesn't mean they're not going to buy it, right? It is not a disqualification. Close it down. Do not pass go. Do not bid the job. What I'm giving you guys is 3 check boxes that's going to drastically increase your close ratio, which is going to increase the revenue that you guys are going to be able to sell and produce. So, David, let's take you through this because I know you do an awesome job on this side, sir.
Yeah. So this is ultimately, guys, the prospect continuum. Okay. Because this is where we get caught up. Oftentimes in sales, we think too binary, and this leads to either an unqualified time waster is how we identify, right? Is how we assume and who we assume our prospects to be. Or we look at them as a lay down sale that's already committed to buying, right? And we're just like, oh, okay, well, if they're not a lay down sale, if they're not already committed to buying and they don't already know they need to do this, they must be a time waster. No, absolutely not. The vast majority of your leads are neither. The vast majority of your leads are somewhere in the middle. Okay. And we have to get to the root of what's going on and why it's potentially going to be so painful if we are going to be able to sit in front of them and say, look, this current pain and this potential pain right here, look at it, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect. Are you okay with this? Or are you going to take the action to resolve it for sure? And it's our intervention in the process that actually gets those people in the middle to turn into hot leads. And I see this time and time again, guys. That's why average or low performing reps always think the top performers are getting better leads. They're not getting better leads. They turn them into better leads with better process, with better execution, with better conversations. 100% every single time. Okay. So when we do this, we're going to get the real answer of whether or not they need to take action or not. And Chad says this all the time, and I freaking love it. And this is where we want to discover and disqualify when necessary. If you unpack that information and they do not need to take action, disqualify them. Keep your pipeline clean and know that you have to spend more time prospecting the people that will actually need you. This is the key. This is the way, right? The little Yoda baby Mandalorian, right? This is the way, guys.
That's awesome. Disqualify, guys. So I'm going to encourage you to be able to look at your book of business, and I'm going to encourage you to be able to have an emotional conversation with yourself, right? I don't care how much time you have spent on it, how great the client has said, or what the client said, right? Or how they treated you, right? Words they used, all that kind of different stuff. Do they actually need to act? And that's going to give you a priority level. And that priority level is going to tell you whether they're going to say, yeah, give me a call back next week. And they're going to say that 10 different times. Or if they're going to say rain's coming in on Friday, we got to get this done. What's your schedule availability, right? Do they actually need to act? Hole number 2, can they solve it without you? This is one of the ones that I am just so close to, because I can't tell you how many times I went into a situation and I knew that the guy went up on the roof. He tells me what he needs because he's been on YouTube for the last 2 hours before I show up, right? And then I give him a proposal for the real deficiency, the actual deficiency of what's going on, right? To know it's only cleaning out a drain and fixing a single puncture inside the roof. And guess what? I see 5 other punctures that it looked like a 6-year-old had done. I know it was him. Is he actually going to award that job? Right? That's what I'm talking about, guys, is we talked about, those 3 different ways that people buy. Number 1, they do nothing. The problem's not big enough. Number 2, do they actually need new or outside help? Or are they just going to take my proposal and try to do it themselves? I'm guilty, guys. Someone comes to my house and gives me a proposal for something that I can do in half the time, and it's not going to cost me $1,000. I'm going to debate it in my head. That's just who I am. But a good sales rep will ask those right questions and figure out what is my true capability to solve this problem without a professional, without an outside help, without an outside contractor, right? Can they solve it themselves? Or is their current vendor right now, is he qualified to do it? Is he just looking for another option? Those are the things that you guys have to figure out if you're going to diagnose what the real problem is. Because if you don't know what they've tried inside the past, if they've tried something inside the past, how are you guys going to give them a new lucrative solution if the solution that you're delivering is something that's, no, we already tried that, it didn't work? You guys are dead in the water. You have to be able to ask the right questions. You have to be able to know how to diagnose what the real problems are. So number 2, discover and disqualify. That's what I'm going to urge you guys to be able to do. And what we're going to teach throughout this is that we're going to teach you guys how to do good discovery and know when it's time to walk away from that customer or ultimately disqualify, right? And know that your time, energy, and effort is spent best somewhere else. It's okay to do that, guys. It's okay to stay with the clients who truly have a problem big enough that they need to act. It's okay to be able to stay with the customers that need outside help. It's not okay to stay with the ones that don't check those boxes. That's my success. You want to know how I got to 17 million, guys? It's these 3 check marks. It's these 3 check boxes that allowed me to be able to disqualify the people and focus on the people that actually needed me. Now, the last one here, do they see why we're better? So my question is ultimately, do you guys have a presentation that makes you an expert? Okay. Sorry, guys, that makes you an expert in the proposal that you're providing? Or are you what I would consider a general contractor, a general roofing contractor, which means you guys do repairs, maintenance, preventative maintenance, liquid membranes, roof replacements, and new construction along with tenant finish? Please tell me what you guys are good at, other than providing every single service under the sun, which then makes you a generalist. We have to be able to portion, even if you do all that stuff, that's great. But when you're talking to your customer wants to deal with an expert. They don't want to deal with a general practitioner, right? That fixes colds when you're going inside there and you need surgery on your leg. You want to be an expert. We're going to teach you guys how to position each one of your products. So when you go in and you present, guys, you're going in as a trusted advisor. You're going in as a trusted expert. That's going to allow you to be able to focus on a sales process, okay? Eliminate the maybes. Know the questions that you need to ask. This is not about going into a sales event, right? A sales meeting and going off your hip of what questions you're going to ask. We're going to help you guys eliminate the maybes, right? I've said it before. There are no maybes in this. It's a yes or a no. And if you ask the right questions and get all of the problems out front, you will have far less or no objections when it comes time to closing the job. Right? David already said it inside here. If you have to ask for the sale, there is already an objection or a problem that's in their head. Maybe they haven't shared it with you that they're trying to solve without you. And that's a really, really bad thing, guys. Why is your current contractor not working? What are you looking to get out of a new contractor? Those are relevant questions that you need to ask to eliminate all of those objections before you get time to be able to do it. These are the 3 check boxes, guys. Checkbox 1, do they actually need to act? Checkbox 2, do they need new and outside help? And checkbox 3, do you guys truly have the best solution, the absolute best solution compared to every other proposal that he has to solve that problem? Okay. And again, that problem is not punctures in the roof. It's not open seams. It's not the stained ceiling tiles. You have to be a trusted advisor and help him understand what that bigger problem is. And we'll teach you all of that through here. So before I jump into end, guys, so we can end on time, we have all of this mapped out. So if you're thinking, man, this seems extremely hard, there's a lot of questions, it's really not. It's 3 questions per checkbox. We have taken this and we've tailored it down to almost an exact science that I can tell you the exact 3 questions or 4 questions that you need to ask to be able to get absolute clarity on if they check the boxes. And that's what all of these future meetings are going to do. All of the webinars, if you guys are on the series, awesome. If you're not, go check it out. No Reps Left Behind. Sign up for the series, because what we're going to be doing is going through every single one of these check boxes, breaking it down so it's easy for you to understand, with the ultimate goal of raising the floor for you, your company, and your sales team, guys. The reason we're here is not to make that bar further, so you got to jump higher, work longer, do more drops. I'm encouraging you guys to be able to shed all of the weight off that's wasting your time, that's stealing all of your money, your commissions. And we'll show you guys how to focus ultimately on the best clients that you can scale and the ones that are going to appreciate. Okay, that's a huge part for me. I hate going into a meeting where I'm not appreciated. I'm looked at a commodity and he goes, well, how much would it cost for you to do this? When can you have a proposal to me? That doesn't allow me to be able to show what my true value is and how I make a difference. I'm here to be able to help improve the lives, right? If I keep a business online, guess what? That restaurant is serving food to that community. That's a big part, and I'm proud to be a part of that. So we'll go through all of this, guys. We'll go through all of the different check marks. David, I'm going to jump down to the bottom inside here. Is there anything that you want to talk about before we close this out?
Nope. Again, guys, we've done all the hard work for over a decade of trying to solidify this process down. And with what we want you to understand is we're trying to give you guys a system, the same way that players could go into the New England Patriots and be successful within that system, or the San Antonio Spurs. There are systems that make players better than they historically have been. That's what this system is. This is not a mindless script. This is a playbook. This is a system that when we put reps in, you'll immediately be put in position to get better outcomes. And we've simplified it down to its core components, the 20% that will get you 80% of the results, to ensure that you can actually replicate it and execute it all the way down from the buyer's journey to the technology and everything in between.
Awesome. And you don't have to take a $20 million pay cut to go pay for the Patriots. Just throwing it out there. All right, so here's what I want from you guys, doubled up there. I want you guys to help me get this word out. If you guys have not joined the Facebook group yet, so I have an exclusive community that's dedicated toward commercial sales, service, and lead development. Get inside there. I'm always posting stuff throughout the week, so you don't have to wait until Tuesday at 2 or 3 or whatever time zone you are to be able to join. We have that set up so everyone can be involved. Lower right-hand side, take your phone, scan the QR. You can join it. I think there's 2 or 3 questions you got to ask, but as long as you're honest, I'll let you in. Outside of that, guys, what I ask is for you guys to share this, because there's 2 types of people that need this. Number one is the people that you know that are hungry for education. They're hungry for different ways of being able to do stuff. I want to work with those people. I love those people. The other side is almost the exact opposite. They're the people that think about your Facebook profile, right? Facebook has this false belief of like life is great. Well, there are struggling sales reps out there, and there's struggling sales reps that need help finding a better process because they have to quit their job and build an entirely new book of business in maybe an entirely different town because they have non-competes or whatever it is. That sucks. That ties right into my mission, guys, which is to be able to show sales reps that you do not have to quit your job. You do not have to go somewhere else and build, or you have to leave because your company doesn't have the process, right? Or the management that they need. That's why this stuff is here. I'm going to urge you guys, share it. You'll find the stuff on Facebook, LinkedIn. If you guys follow me on any of the stuff, take it, share it. That's what I ask. If you tag us in it, we'll talk a little bit more about the technology that's behind all of this. We'll get you free logins, free access, so you guys can truly start converting from that commodity proposal that I talked about into a true workspace that'll engage your customer to be interactive with you. So there's some cool stuff that's happening. You'll see it coming down the line. But until then, we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Anything from your side, David?
Nope. Thanks for being here, guys.
Get it. Thank you. See you guys later.